this weekly for April 4th, 2020. Hope that you are all healthy and holding out as best you can as you sort of isolate yourself. Social isolation is easy for me. I always avoid people. For some of you, not so easy. Anyway, I wanted to thank those people who did stop into the live stream this past Wednesday evening. I had several dozen folks who stopped by, and some of them hung out for almost the whole hour and a half. So if you endured that, you are a great fan. Appreciate you stopping in. Said it's kind of fun just chatting with folks online sometimes, because don't get quite as much of that in-person contact as we would otherwise. And we did have several new people join the live stream, so hopefully that you felt comfortable and will be coming back when we do it again, probably end of April, 1st of May. So, in addition, some kind of exciting news. A couple of days ago, we got the email from Google. The channel is officially monetized, which means from time to time you might actually see an advertisement either at the beginning or in the middle of this show or any other videos I might do. So, hey, they throw a few coins our way from time to time, so we appreciate that. In addition, if you'd like to support the show in a bigger and better way, you can always visit the Vegas Tips and Tricks store, which I'll link to in the show notes below. We have a couple of mugs, we have a t-shirt, and we have a magnet now that you can purchase. So if you're interested in any of those items, click on that and check it out below. Before we get started on our entree of fabulous Vegas information, it's time for our cocktail of the week. And that means we're going to once again check in with our friend PJ for another one of his fabulous concoctions. Take it away.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cocktail of the Week with your host and not a professional bartender, PJ.
Hey John, thanks again for another fabulous introduction to Cocktail of the Week. Well, hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Cocktail of the Week. Today, we're going to be making another martini. This time we're going to be making a key lime martini. That's right, a key lime martini. Stay tuned everybody, we'll be right back with all the ingredients to make this fabulous drink. Alrighty, welcome back. Let's get this puppy put together. Alright, today we have six ingredients. We're going to first add 1 ounce of white rum into our shaker. 1 ounce of white rum. Then we're going to do a 1.5 ounces of vanilla vodka. Then we're going to do 1 ounce of melon liqueur. We're going to do 1 ounce of pineapple juice, 1 ounce of lime juice. Then we're going to splash that with a little simple syrup. Get that in there good. Alrighty. And then we're going to shake this puppy up. And a little bit on this side. Alrighty. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pour this puppy right into our sugar-rimmed martini glass. But first, I need my garnish. Alright, so yeah, we've rimmed the martini glass with our lime, and then did rim that with some plain white sugar. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here we go with our key lime martini. Ooh, man, it smells good. That smells good. I've mentioned this before. I do have a little oversized martini glasses, but Don't let that discourage you, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty, and we're going to garnish that with our lime. And, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back to see how this puppy tastes. If it tastes anything like it smells, it's going to be fabulous. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And now for the best part of the show. That's right, I get to taste my fabulous creation. But not before you do, so let me know what you think of this fabulous key lime teeny, ladies and gentlemen, key lime teeny. Man, that, my friends, is dangerously delicious. You can taste everything, even the vanilla vodka. White rum, the lime's not too strong. Man, I'm going for one more. Let's move this puppy around so we can get some of the sugar. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to make one of these. All right, that's going to do it for another cocktail of the week. That was our key lime teeny. John, back to you, sir. Cheers. I'll be taking this one with me.
Thanks, PJ, for another inventive take on alcoholic intake. We certainly appreciate that. And these times when we're all kind of cooped up, we've got a nice liquor cabinet. We might be able to find some use for all those odd liqueurs that have been sitting there for a while. If you love what you see with Cocktail of the Week, make sure to check out PJ's Cocktails, his new channel as well. Okay, we're going to start in with the news today, and like I said, it's going to be an abbreviated show. It's kind of going to be an abbreviated news segment, and the news, as usual, is just going to be a departure point for me to talk about a few things. The news of sorts this week is that the governor of Nevada has extended the sort of closure of non-essential businesses to the end of April. That means there won't be any casino openings before that. Now, I don't think most of us were expecting there to be any casino openings before then, but now it's more or less locked in. On a personal note, after that announcement, I did get an email from Main Street Station. I still had my reservation for the 28th and 29th of April there, and they canceled that, obviously, because they're not going to be open. So that's pretty much the final nail in the coffin of my trip, which was to begin 24 days from now. That will, of course, not be happening. We've definitely got some plans for some return to Vegas in the summer, fall. We will look into that a little more later on. So what does that mean? Are the casinos really going to open May 1st? Probably not. We talked about that matter last week. But what we didn't really talk about as much, and there were some clues about what a reopening might look like that we saw this week. I noticed earlier in the week when I went on the Caesars website that during those last couple of weeks of April, before they had officially extended the shutdown to April 30th, that some of the hotels were available to book, some were not. Notably, I remember the Link, Caesars / Nobu, and I believe Bally's for sure were all available, but the rest showed little black dots. And also based upon some information that I saw from Vital Vegas this week, there would probably be, when we do see a reopen, a sort of staged reopening, at least from the larger casino companies, where some hotels / casinos would remain shuttered while others would be opened. Thinking about that and also looking at some of what we've seen otherwise, I'm speculating a bit on what a reopened Las Vegas might look like. And it won't look very much like what we saw a few months or even a few weeks ago. First of all, again, you're probably not going to see all the hotels and casinos reopen. If you've got hotels with multiple towers, you're probably not going to see all the towers reopened. It is likely that the makeshift attempt at social distancing that we saw in the final days before the shutdown in mid-March will be done in a more permanent fashion. We'll probably see the casino floor laid out in a way that enforces that separation, whether it be at table games or slot machines. You're probably not going to see banks of machines pushed together. Of course, initially you wouldn't expect to see that much business back in the casinos, so again, it's, you don't necessarily need all the slot machines, all the games put back into place anyway. I would be shocked if a return to Las Vegas included drink service of any kind. That is way too much human contact. So don't expect free drinks. It's very possible that we could see screening. We are seeing companies and businesses that are screening people's temperature and limiting the number of people that can have access to a particular building at a particular time. That seems like something we could also see in the casino. Food service would likely be very limited. I don't know if you'd see any sit-down restaurants opening initially. Probably what you would have is possibly one or two options for takeout. We saw recommendations in the last couple of days from the CDC that people going out should wear masks. And while masks have a limited value in this fight against the plague, they do provide some protection. And I would not be surprised if we saw over the next couple of weeks businesses saying that they require their customers or their employees to wear masks. So it's possible that a reopened Las Vegas casino might require you to wear masks. Guess what? You're not going to be able to smoke. I think we mentioned that one a couple of weeks ago already. Obviously with a respiratory virus, that would not be a very good idea. And you would expect to see a much stricter cleaning protocol going on. I mean, it's very possible you could see someone get up from a slot machine and then someone could immediately approach that machine and clean it. You're not going to see pool parties. You're not going to see pools. You're not going to see shows. You're not going to see buffets. You're not going to see anything which encourages a lot of people to gather in one place. And that's when we open, whenever that takes place. I don't think May 1 is that realistic. Maybe June 1, maybe sometime in the summer. But regardless, this whole thing is not going to pass us by, even if we see a sort of peak and start to see some promising signs. There is still going to be concerns about spreading this virus. So anyway, that's my thoughts and I think informed speculation on what reopened Las Vegas casinos might look like. If you have some ideas as well or some things that I might have missed, please do hit me up in the comments below. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts. Now let's return to the golden times of yesteryear when we weren't worried about pandemics, but were worried about the onset of World War II. What? Really? Yes, because today's week in Vegas history, and of course I cheated again because this week I picked something that happened in the last 7 days, which for some reason seemed to be much more notable. But on April the 3rd, 1941, that's before the U.S. entry into World War II, we saw the opening of what was the first resort on the Las Vegas Strip. No, it was not the Flamingo, it was the El Rancho Vegas. Opened on April 3rd, 1941. It had, as most properties, hotels, casinos back then in Las Vegas did, a Western-style theme, a sort of Spanish-inspired look. There was horseback riding available. And that was definitely the look they were going for. That's the sense in which the Flamingo was kind of the first, because it was the first to adopt that sort of cosmopolitan, sort of fancy sort of style casino. But the El Rancho was a pretty successful property over 20 years or so. The hotel originally, I think, had a little over 100 rooms and was quite successful. It sat at 2500 Las Vegas Boulevard, which is that empty lot across the street from where the Sahara is. It was used by MGM a couple of times, I think, as a festival grounds. It was also part of the parcel of land that was sold to Phil Ruffin, I don't know how many months ago. We've lost track of time. So it has remained a vacant lot for quite some time. The El Rancho, which at various points had the largest casino in Las Vegas, had a major showroom called the Opera House, which hosted a number of popular performers of that era. But most of all of the sort of public facilities were destroyed in a fire in 1960 and were never rebuilt. The property continued on for a while as just a motel, but was not terribly successful. It ultimately ended up in the hands of Howard Hughes. There's this year in Vegas history we could do sometime. And was basically shut down as a hotel, was used for some storage for a while and eventually demolished. And again, there hasn't been anything there for quite a number of decades now. There was another El Rancho, which started out as the Thunderbird and was more or less across the street. That's the El Rancho some of you may actually remember. For a time it had hosted a curious marquee that said, "Coming soon, Countryland, USA." That location, with completely different property, completely different history, closed down, I think, in the early 90s and was demolished about 10 years later. So it's the site of what would now be where the Drew, Fontainebleau / Drew is being constructed. So the El Rancho had a few notables. As I said, at one time the largest casino in town. It hosted the marriage of Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward back in 1957. And it had the idea at some point to sort of have an all-night sort of smorgasbord of food, which it called the Chuck Wagon. And that Chuck Wagon was one of the very first precursors to the modern Las Vegas buffet. So there you go. The El Rancho Vegas, a fairly short life in Las Vegas terms of around 20 years, but it was the earliest resort on the Strip by almost 6 years over the Flamingo, which would not open until late 1946. So there you go. El Rancho Vegas is this week in Vegas history. Appropriately enough, this week's Vegas tip or trick, and remember we're counting down our top 10 Vegas tips or tricks, and we're calling this one an actual trick. It's the old buffet trick. And it doesn't work at all buffets because some of them close down between the various servings. So they'll shut down between breakfast and lunch. They'll shut down between lunch and dinner. But for those buffets that remain open, the trick, of course, is to go just prior to the changeover. So if breakfast ends at 11 and lunch begins at 11, you go in at 10:45, you pay the lower breakfast price, and you're able to enjoy some breakfast items, but then when the lunch items come out, you can enjoy those as well. It's probably even more valuable at dinner time, because dinner tends to be when we pull out these specialties like the prime rib or the crab legs or something like that, which are not featured on the lunch menu. So I think you can still do this at the Cosmopolitan, and there's a number of other places. What you're looking for is any buffet that doesn't close down. And you can save a substantial amount of money, particularly in the larger buffets, because the difference between, particularly between lunch and dinner, can easily be $10, $15, $20. So that's the old buffet trick. It's number 9 on the all-time top 10 Vegas tips and tricks. Well, that's going to wrap up today's show. As I say, a little bit shorter than our previous shows. That may be a blessing for some of you. Once again, hope that you are all doing well at this time. And if you have any comments, please hit me up in the notes below. I always try to respond to all of those. And please, if you would, kindly hit that like button. Click that subscribe button if you haven't. We did welcome our 1,300th subscriber this week. And if you'd like to be notified anytime we go live or anytime a new show debuts, you can also ring that bell. Until next time, everybody, I hope that you have a great, lucky, and healthy week. And we will see you soon.